Get me in a call-in. My fingers are tired. LOL. All right, I'll call you, bro. But I'm just interested in what the...
Shut the fuck up. Know your fucking place, trash.
All right, I'll call him.
All right. Ugh.
So, Wrel, can you explain why you would allow bladeless fans to be marketed as bladeless if there is clearly a blade underneath the fan?
Well, really, you know, whenever you're creating a new product, you have to kind of adhere to the norms of the previous audience, the largest audience, and then you kind of work a different angle, you know? So by calling it bladeless, what it does is it doesn't represent the traditional blade of a fan. Therefore, you can get away with it.
Okay. Write that down. Go ahead. I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I was just reading. I'm learning about the situation.
I'm honestly really surprised that people keep talking about this. It's like, I get it. The people are... What is it? Envy? Is it jealousy? Like, Sirius is literally, we're in there coordinating this event all day long, taking up our personal time. And then, somebody jumps on Sirius for like helping, make sure that the event goes off without a hitch, right? And it's not that, and so if it was just like some random people who are up in the warp gate, just like hanging out or whatever, no, like this is obviously premeditated by FedEx, who is trolling the entire night. Like borderline tiptoe, want to make sure they don't get in trouble, and by the end of the night they're like, okay, screw it, we just need to go for it and get our rocks off. So that's the part that bothers me, and I think the community, what bothers me more actually is that people are demonizing Sirius. Like, you take somebody who's done so much good for the game, who continues to be a shepherd of the game, and then like, no, he did this thing on a technicality that I have no context for, and I'm going to be angry about it. And it's really ridiculous.
I mean, it's cancel culture. I'd say that I dealt with it when people started calling me racist, and they were like going through my Twitter trying to find literally anything, and all they found was like my cringe K-pop stuff that I used to like back in 2014. And then I gave them nothing, and then it kind of blew over because there was nothing really to feed off of. But I also, I don't know, the only thing that I saw you said you kind of understand where I'm coming from. The only thing I am kind of weirded out by is like the selling of an experience that isn't necessarily going to be their experience on day one. Like when it comes to like the normal people that are viewing it. But when it comes to like what Sirius did, I'm really just like, I get both sides, and I am just as intrigued covering it that I think you are with dealing with it, because I'm assuming you've been getting a lot of, I don't know, maybe stray bullets as well. People earlier were saying like, well, you shouldn't be mad at Sirius. You should actually be mad at Wrel for giving it to him in the first place. I'm like, well, am I not allowed to have it either? Like, I don't know. I didn't do anything wrong. Like,
no, and that's the thing, is like, so I trust Sirius's judgment to deal with people who are, trying to ruin an event like this, based on their reputation and everything else, and just everything that we've been dealing with the entire time. Or people who, like, just for example, like Ahorn, way back when, like, he has a observer camera on his personal account, and yeah, he went on stream and he did something that he wasn't necessarily supposed to, and I was like, slap on the wrist, please don't do that again. And that's it. Like, because at that point he's like, okay, I understand. I won't. But I still trust him to like go through walls to kill hackers, like or people who are exploiting, under the terrain and that sort of thing. Like, I got no problems with that, because it's about creating a better environment for the majority of people, making the game better for people instead of doing the opposite. And unfortunately, what you have with, people like, God, I'm sure there's some great people in FedEx, maybe, possibly, but like, at least the ones who are doing what they did last night, like, you're deliberately trying to ruin the experience for people. Or like, I mean, you had people come into chat, like when I was hanging out in your stream for a bit during that event, who were being a little bit antagonistic and kind of poking the bear. And it's like, okay, well, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I think at some point, probably sooner rather than later, is that we kind of need to take a harder stance on this sort of behavior, because a lot of people have been kind of walking the line with like, I can kind of, poke and prod, and I'm not technically breaking any, your rules and the legalese, so whatever. And realistically, no. What it comes down to is that it's our game. What we want is for like a community of players who are willing to help each other and, you know, be like create a better experience for everybody. Because quite honestly, this game lives and dies on its community. And when you have people who are like actively trying to ruin that, it's kind of unfortunate. And as far as like the specifics of the event goes, live streamers, you know, big names or whatever, like all that is healthy for the game. And that's probably the more the most like active I've been in trying to help people because of, you know, their popularity, the visibility. Like our game should reflect good for the masses. Is it lying to them? Like, is this not how the game is actually played? You could probably make the argument, but at the same time, like that's not what it was about. It was about having people in this instance have fun and be able to log off at the end of the day and say like, you know what, that was kind of cool. I'm gonna talk to my friends about it, and that's it. Like that's the sort of vibe, at least, that you want to create. And this by virtue of having like a large group of people, obviously more attention gets drawn towards that. If these people like trickled in on their own, you know, and they're kind of like investigating the harsh realities of Planetside 2 on their own, it's a very different experience there too, because they're not actively being targeted. Like if you were, and the other people are bringing up like, you know, if I have an observer camera, does that mean I can break or like do this sort of behavior? And it's like, no. Like if you think that you shouldn't, or have a question if you are allowed to do that or not, no. The answer is probably no. There's definitely there's a level of trust that dictates what you are and are not allowed to do with the camera. Like, you know, I sent some specific guidelines to you in particular because I don't know you all that well. You know, and we've had some experiences in the past, and I know you have a very specific outlook on the game that doesn't necessarily align with my own. So I want to make sure that like you can, you know, behave.
I've been good, bro. I've been good. What do you mean?
I know you have, which is why you have an observer camera on your personal account, opposed to me throwing you an observer camera on a separate account. Like this is
suck me off, pussies. Sorry,
Stop that.
No, because people keep saying, "Why did he give it to you?" I'm like, "Well, I'm being good."
No, and that's what it comes down to. It's about building up that level of trust over time. And yeah, I don't know. Like people want this like clean, easy to understand, like easy to digest story of like, you know, this was wrong because of X reason. But you know, like the world doesn't work that way. Everything is a little bit more nuanced than you take for granted. There's shades of gray. It's not black and white. Like, and also people tend to ignore the context of this situation because it doesn't validate their own immediate knee-jerk ideals of what did transpire, or what should have transpired, or what maybe I like want to believe transpired.
No, I think when it comes to the situation itself, like me personally, I kind of got over the whole like, it's unfair. They're killing people that shouldn't be killed, and it's like, I was told. I kind of got over that because, I mean, you kind of said it too. Like you have like things, artifacts, analytics, something like that kind of show that these events do bring in new people. And I kind of got over that kind of overnight. I was talking to somebody else off stream about it, and we looked at some numbers and we're like, well, it's too early to call regardless. So like, I'm not going to make a statement or a stance about that. What I'm more interested is, again, how people don't like Sirius and people don't like FedEx and Hour and whoever else was involved. So I'm really just going through all this stuff because I'm just so interested as well. And I'm intrigued at why it is a big deal, because I don't really know. What do you do? Like, do you ban Sirius for bringing new players into the game, or do you ban FedEx for, I guess, playing the game and killing people on the live server and being in the sandbox environment? And like you said, they were tiptoeing on a line, but I don't know. Like, I'm not friends with FedEx. I'll tell you that much. Like, they piss me off just as much as everybody else when I'm in a 12 to 24 and there's 11 gals all up in the sky just killing me in the spawn. Like, and the yell chat meta, you know, it's annoying. I agree, but it's one of those harsh realities in the game. But again, I'm just really looking through all this, and I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at Sirius. I'm not even mad at FedEx. I'll be real. I just so interested at like what everybody has to say, and like no one's even proposed anything other than, well, he should just get his obs count removed. It's like, okay, but have you seen the amount of stuff that he's done outside of this specific event that's helped? You've probably, like, a lot of these people have probably watched a Sirius video learning about something in the game to get to the point where they're shit posting on Reddit. So I don't know. I'm just interested. I'm going through. Don't take this as me trying to cancel anyone. I'm just kind of gathering the arguments from everyone who are pro and anti. And I think both sides are kind of dumb in this situation. I personally think I should not, no player should just have like GM authority. But at the same time,
which no player does.
Yeah.
Like, no, there's certain behaviors that we endorse and certain behaviors that we don't. And it's, well, I mean, I guess if you want to like call it a GM or whatever, like, no, it's just not an official capacity. It's more just like, yeah, when somebody's team killing your Sunderer, I mean, just as an example, just in live play, like, what do you do? Like, probably deal with that person, probably like report that person. I mean, what you're using what means are available to you to remedy a problem that people understand is like a problem, right? And then maybe that's not the best example, but it's, the point is that like in the situation that Sirius was given, he was totally within his rights to try to ensure like things went well. Like I said, if it was a different situation, then slap on the wrist or removing admin accounts or like trust broken or whatever. But no, this is totally not this. And you know what's funny is that a lot of times on Reddit, whoever frames the first comment
opinion,
or the first
I hate Reddit, dude.
It's such a circle jerk. Because like if you're first to it and then like, so I run on caffeine, just to call him out, the person who posted it, he didn't include context of the event, like, because he didn't know, or he didn't ask, or he didn't care.
He knew.
And
he knew.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
It's what caffeine does. I'll say it. You're not the one saying it.
He has a history of doing this. Yeah.
Caffeine loves this sort of thing, and I'm sure he's gonna love this now that we've been bringing him up. But he has a history of it, and I agree with that.
And then others will, they'll read the post, they'll take the information for what they are presented with, and then they'll run with it, right? And then if later you kind of bring up an opposing viewpoint, and this is just how politics works and the news and everything else, if it's running contrary to what you have now kind of you've invested yourself in, then you're probably going to reject it, or find reasons to reject it, or find yeah, or I mean, the downvote button is a great way on Reddit, right? To just kind of like suppress people who could totally be just like trying to bring up that other side of the coin, or like illuminate the action, or more information about the situation.
Yeah,
it's definitely a really weird dynamic, and what sucks is that it kind of I don't want to say that it forces me to respond to it, but there's obviously an expectation that I will at some point, kind of either you try to put out the flames, or make sure that things don't happen in the future, or that people are punished and whatever else. And I really wish that we'd all just grow up a little bit.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, again, I'm not really mad at the situation. I feel like I'm more just concerned about the other side of it that I've kind of been talking about, where it's, like we've done these races before, and we've gotten killed, and we've streamed this game before, and we've been stream sniped. And my only worry is like we're selling the game to people via this opportunity. Like, very high exposure people are going to touch this game, and they're inviting their people to come and play. So it's like, we want to capture that. That's free marketing. But when it comes to like looking at the VOD and then looking at a lot of the stuff that's being said, it does seem like we're like selling something that isn't necessarily it's like a used car salesman type thing, where it's like, we've buffed out the scratches, but we don't want to open the engine. And we're in this situation where we're giving, a lot of freebies to try to showcase the best part of the game, but we're almost doing it a little too much. Because like I get giving out certs to kind of boost past that hard cert grind, and it's kind of like, okay, we're masking that, because that is a bit of a disadvantage for the game. A lot of people have to do a lot of stuff to get to the level that you'd get 20. Was it 20k certs that they were given, or do you know that off the top of your head?
Yeah, 25k certs, $100 worth of day break cash.
Yeah,
1 month of membership.
Yeah. So the $100 of Daybreak Cash, that's a great idea. They can buy armors and helmets and then showcase like, oh, look how cool I can make my character look. Boom, that makes money for the game if somebody were to stick. Giving them certs kind of gets them past that beginning grind because they don't necessarily have to play for 50 hours to get 20k certs, for example. But I think
we know that they're not sticking around. Like, that's the thing, is that it's not, we're not even trying to get them to stick around. Like, we're trying to make it so like people who are watching the game, like they get past the hurdles that we put in. Like the MMO, like ultimately this is an MMO. Like, we want you to take your character and like get invested in it and build it up over time, because that's part of what gets you invested in a character. But for these people, like, no, they're not gonna, maybe they come back if they had a good time, and that'll be great for us if they do. But that's not what we're going for. Like, we just want to showcase the game without the friction that we put in at the start. And it's not, I kind of disagree about the used car salesman thing, because nobody that is playing that game, or that played, was thinking that this happens all the time. Like, not at all. Well, like, they know like the situation and like what we're giving them and what we're doing for them.
I'm not talking about the streamers, because the streamers know, like they're my understanding is, for what you said, they have like a community manager for themselves for the late shift, and they got in contact with you. And then I'm not talking about them. I know that they're not going to stay. Streamers ride waves, and with that viewer count that they're each able to pull, they're able to expand their brand bigger because they can be higher up in the directory, have more exposure on a game that isn't small like this. I'm talking about the people that did play with them, because we're hoping to stick someone, right? We're hoping to stick the people that played with them. Am I correct, or am I incorrect here?
I think, see, I won't say no, like it'd be nice if they stayed, but that's not the point. Like, the point is about having the word of mouth. This game is surprisingly powerful in its marketing of word of mouth. Like, we get 1,000+ new players through the door every single day. I don't know of any other game that does that 8 years in, but I'm kind of impressed. And the hardest part for us is just keeping those players. Like, our churn rate is ridiculous, especially about at the 1 week and the 2 week mark, or where they drop off real hard. But so it's more about just like kind of making sure that they have a good time. And for them, and we didn't give those new players anything, so they're just like, they're suffering through the queue, and they're they're on other continents, not playing with their favorite streamers, but just being able to kind of interact is what makes that exciting for them. And that's what matters. It's like the feelings that you have while you're here that you're able to then share later. And it's whenever like streamers come in, it's a long-term game that we play. And then, like I mentioned before with updates, like, if the game was just good, then like you can probably make the argument that it sustained itself, but that's not the case. Like, even like CS has to release, they need
updates, and they need people to, because I agree, word of mouth. Like, if me and you are friends, and then I'm just like, man, I'm bored, and then you're like, well, yo, I've been playing Planetside, you want to play? It's free. I'd be like, sure, I'll download it. And then the hope is that I'll tell another person, and then that person will tell 2 people, those 2 people tell 4, 8, 16, etc., and it kind of disseminates that way. So I understand that. My only thing is, it's like, getting those people to log in was fairly easy, at least, because those are like, that's their streamer, right? This is their opportunity to turn that parasocial relationship where I just type to the person and they respond and they laugh and they go like, haha, good message, or thanks for the 3 months. Like, that relationship turns into like, hey, where are we going? And then they respond like, oh, we're going to the waypoint. And it feels like it can turn into like an actual social relationship. So it's like, it's leveraging that to benefit not only the person that's playing, and again, I'm talking about the viewer, but also benefit the game, because then we get new people to come in. My worry is that, again, like, it's almost selling it a little bit too nice, because there are harsh realities in the game where a lot of new players kind of deal with it. And I think it sounds like, at least, or my hope is that there's plans to kind of remedy that in the future, to try to make it so that, the new player experience, it's always been an issue.
It's only ever going to get so far. Like, you can try to make the new player experience as good as you want, but it's not a silver bullet. There's no such one that exists, and the community is always going to be the thing that kind of keeps the game moving forward, provided it's like cultivated well. We have to kind of cut off the dead branches, prune from time to time. But it's, feel like those new players didn't necessarily get an experience that is radically different from something else that they could experience someday. You know, I mean, obviously a lot more people there and like doing the organized columns or armor columns and that sort of thing. But if just as an example, like if the streamers were just like running around the map, stomping people, like no, we wouldn't have helped them out because they wouldn't have needed it, right? Like we know that that there are like some difficult situations that this game puts you in, and yeah, well, I guess I'm being kind of circular now, but it just comes back to creating a good experience or like an event. Is stream sniping in general not okay? No, it's not. I mean, what's funny is that like I've kicked people for stream sniping before, you know, just jumping into streamer streams, and I like happen to be watching or whatever, and then you know Lex is like, oh, you know, like nobody comes in and helps me when it's like, yeah, because you suck. Like I don't like you. Like why would I watch your stream? And of course I'm not gonna help you out.
God
like,
damn, bro, with the hard takes today, bro.
Like there's only one of me, right? And
no, it goes back to that argument where that one guy, I think you were talking to me and Zyros after the gold match of Outfit Wars, and then someone was like, well, why isn't Wrel in the other streams? It's like, how is he going to be in all of them at the same time? So I understand that. And when it comes down to like the stream sniping thing, it is a harsh reality. I think turning it into content is one of the best decisions I've done though. Like I had a stream sniping event happen before. I have another one coming up. Me and 1TR, me Cox and 1TR are partnering together, pulling Colossus tanks and then telling everybody in the server to kill us. Like that's just fun to watch and it's fun to do, like trying to like survive while everybody in the server targets you. So yeah, like stream sniping can be fun, but at the same time, a lot of people hate it, and I understand that too. Where it's like, what are you gonna do? Have a GM in every single streamer of the category? Right. It's like impossible. So I understand that for sure.
We try to help where we can, and that's the best we can do. Sorry, so that's the last thing.
No, go ahead. Go. I'm here all night. I'm here all night.
There's definitely like a lot of agree to disagree stuff, you know, in these sorts of situations, like not even in this one in particular. I think this has kind of been a recurring theme over the game's kind of history. What I'm most interested in about this situation is kind of using it to help define our stance on the behaviors that we would like to see, like moving forward. You know, potentially clarifying that stance a little bit. But yeah, and outside of that, it's just like the hate on streamers. Like, it's important to note, everyone, that like your actions that happen outside of the game also matter inside the game. So, yep.
I don't know. Is that a...
It's like a veiled threat.
Okay.
No, it's just there seems to be some confusion about it, but like this was established a long time ago. Like this stuff matters. Like you try to be like maybe not your best self if that's not possible, but try to be like, you know, good when it comes to this game. Like a good person that help the community.
As this girl that I had a crush on back in college once said, do better. I'm like, damn, rude. Okay. But yeah, do better. Yeah, it was kind of rude. Man, people were salty back then, but no, I agree. Like there is a lot of stuff. Like, I don't know. I was asking, I don't know if you were here yesterday when I said this, but I was like asking, cause there was one post, there was only one post, but people were just like being just an asshole. Like, saying that like he was like the balding streamer. I'm like, bro, I'm balding. Like, why is everyone so mean? I was like, do they not moderate these? How does Reddit work? I literally had to ask people how Reddit worked because I was like, do they not moderate and stop like personal attacks? Because again, my rule, and it's almost become the rule for the channel, because it came from speedrunners. It's like, if you are rooting for someone that does not give you the merit to be mean to the other person that's also playing. Like, I don't want you to say fuck Leroy. I want you to say go baddie, like for the match that happened earlier today. So whenever we see that, and my mods know this as well, if anyone's ever toxic to the person who's not the one that's, I guess, the favorite person, like we time them out, warning, etc. Because yeah, it's the same net positive. If you root for the person who's winning, then it's like, yeah, that's cool. But then this is a different situation where, I don't know, I'm reading like just people be mean. And I'm like, do they not delete these messages and warn them? Or I thought it was just give your opinion on the
yeah.
situation instead of just like hate on people. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure how many of the Reddit admins still play Planetside 2, but I mean they're good people from what I imagine. They definitely lean on the side of, you know, like letting people speak their mind, but they're more than willing to take down stuff that like crosses the line, and they've done that on numerous occasions, and I appreciate them for it. But yeah, I mean, like when it comes down to just like, you know, who you are outside of game and who you are in game, like you have a choice, right? You could be somebody who is, you know, like trolling and toxic or whatever, or you could try to help people. So hopefully you do that.
Yeah, 100%. And then if I don't know, people take it as an invitation sometimes to just be mean because it's like I don't want the normies to play the game. Like I understand that side of people is something that's been very apparent recently. The more and more I become a normie streamer, I guess, as my view count goes from like 5 people that were just like, oh, Shoctorr's the small streamer, I can complain to him about I just want infantry, to it's like, now Shoctorr's so washed, bro. The way he talks to Wrel and he doesn't just say fuck you, stand up to the man. Like, I don't know. Like, I've seen that a lot just from my perspective. And to be honest, they catch the ban. Like, and sometimes it's not even me. My mods will just blast them, and deserved. I'll be real, it's just deserved. So, but once again, I really do appreciate you hopping on. Thank you for giving us your opinion on it, and or actually, not really. That's not really even an opinion anymore. This is like this is your stance, or does that count as your stance? I don't know. I don't want.
I think my official stance needs to be a little bit more eloquent and tempered. I'm definitely talking a little bit more casually with you. Not that that'll matter for Reddit. So hello Reddit. Yeah. But
high caffeine.
But yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate it, Wrel. Thank you so much.
All right, take it easy. Thanks.
All right, later, man. All right, well, that was Wrel. Claps in the chat. Say hi to Reddit. Fuck you, Reddit. Like, I literally fuck 'em, Reddit, bro.